Hi there, my name's Tristan, and I haven't put up any videos for a while, so I thought I would do another one. This is a game called Eternal. It's got a lot of similarities to other card games like Magic and Hearthstone, so we're just going to jump into it. I'm not an expert at this yet, but we are going to do a draft. Drafts are 5,000 gold. So, you play a 45 card deck in the draft here, so we're going to be playing a little bit over half of what we take. And I do like rare drafting quite a bit because I don't have much of a collection yet, but this is probably not very good. I don't know all these cards yet, so I might be reading some of these. At the end of the turn, deal 1 to the cursed player for each card they drew and discarded. Probably not very good. This basically taps all enemy units. The attacking and blocking is a lot like Magic the Gathering, so this is good in an aggressive deck, I suppose, is something to be a finisher to get all your creatures through. This guy gives you a 1/1 flyer when you draw it. Not bad. 4/6 for 6 mana is pretty decent. This is a 2-colored card, but it is flying, life, steal, and endurance, so it can attack and block. It's hard to block itself, and it gains you life back, so it looks pretty powerful, although this is 2 colors. That's what these symbols up here show, how much colored mana you need for them, or power, whatever it's called in this game. So this takes 3 specific colors, where this only takes 1. And we've got a bunch of commons down here also. We've got a flyer that can grow bigger in the late game. That's probably a decent card. In the draft, the cards that we see are going to be passed by other players who have drafted in the past. So we won't be seeing any of these packs again. So it's not like we can hope to table anything. This is like a ramp card, and this is a good blocker, I guess, at least for creatures on the ground. I think we will go with this powerful card. I mean, somewhat powerful. It has a heavy color requirement, but it does do a lot. We'll take that over the mono white card. Here's a nice green white 2-drop also. This guy gets bigger every time you play a sigil or like a land. But every time you play one of those, you get to empower and make this thing bigger. So we'll probably take that here because it is in those 2 colors. There's a couple blue removal cards. There's Polymorph that turns something into a frog, and this does 4 damage to an attacker. The things that make your creatures bigger are pretty decent, although this one isn't really meant for winning combat so much, I don't think. And not a lot else going on here. We'll take the one that is the same colors we've already taken. There's another Polymorph. And nothing else really in green-white. Mithril Mace is a relic weapon, so this is one that you put on your character, and you use this basically as removal. So you can have your character attack for 3 damage once per turn, and you can just hit the opposing player or a creature they control. And once you take 4 damage, this thing goes away. So that would probably be the best card to go with the other 2 that we've already taken. But we'll want to keep an eye out for what's open here. So having 2 polymorphs passed is probably a good sign that blue might be open. There's also, I think this Amethyst Acolyte's a decent card. Give a creature -1/-1. I suppose to stay in color with these, we'll take the Mithril Mace. Not one I'm thrilled about, but we'll see where we go. We have a mana fixing sort of card. Draw a sigil of your choice from your deck, so that I think looks pretty decent. White is kind of a ramp color, so this is it can either lead us to be a like multicolor deck, like 3 or more colors, probably not more, but this could lead us to be like a 3-color deck, or to have some big plays that we want to make. These other white cards are probably not very good. We've also got Ceremonial Mask. This is another weapon for your character, and it gives a creature +4/+4 until end of turn. We've already got 1, and I don't really want to be flooded with these things, although they are pretty good. It's like a removal spell, but I'm going to go with this ramp card in case we need to try to be three colors. crowd favorite. Choose a weapon with cost 3 or less from your deck and play it. So this is good with the weapons like this one. The red circle kind of shows you it goes on a creature, and the purple circle here for the toughness on it shows that it goes on the player. They've also got different types. This is called a relic weapon. So this would be good with like these types of cards that make your minions or creatures, whatever they're called, bigger. Not a lot going on here in white. Not a lot in green either, but we do have a weapon that we could put on one of our things that gives +1/+3 in endurance. So it lets the creature attack and block. Probably decent. We've got a few creatures already, and we could, yeah, I think we'll be pretty happy with this instead of going off color. We've got a nice removal spell here. This is really powerful, but this is in blue and black, so it's two colors that we have not taken so far. But that may be something we should consider. I don't know how we would end up playing it very easily with some of these other things. We're pretty dedicated to green white with these two, our two best cards being multicolor. I suppose here we will just take a 4-drop. Not very exciting. This card's really good though. This is a good equipment. It gives +1/+0 and flying. So we'll be happy to have that. The green may be open after all. Water of Life, you gain 3 hearts, and it's got Echo, so that means you get 2 copies of this when you draw it. Life gain is probably not very good. This would be nice in a deck that can maybe discard for extra effects or that just needs to outlast the other, but we'll go ahead and take the creature that can attack here. It's kind of an aggressive creature. This is a lot like, what was that guy called? The Empower is a lot like Landfall in Magic the Gathering, so this is very similar to some of the aggressive Landfall creatures, so that's a similar sort of strategy to what you'd want to try to play with this. So we've got Rakeno Artisan, summon all weapons in your deck, get +1/+1. That seems pretty decent, or we can get a green-red Mana Fixer. This is actually a rare card. So I suppose we could rare draft that here. We could take the fixing first, but we may end up with fixing later, and we may end up being in a green-red-white deck. So we'll just take that guy and see. We have 2 or 3 weapons so far. We've got shield, mace, and feather. So we've got some weapons already. We're going to be pretty happy to get a Minotaur Grunt. This is kind of just a filler card, but it makes some of your other things bigger later. And neither one of these is very exciting. We'll just take the green card, and we'll take another green card. That one's a combat trick, so that's pretty good. Combra Healer is apparently a pretty decent card. You get to pump the toughness on one of your creatures, so that's nice. This is kind of a removal spell. I have not played with this yet. Could not say how good it is. This is nice as it's a power source, a mana source that becomes a creature later. So once you have oh no, this one becomes a weapon. So once you have 5 mana already, you can play it to give one of your creatures +3/+3, which is kind of nice. It gives you something to do so you don't get mana flooded. I think we will probably take Combra Healer here. And Vulcan Staff, this is also a really great card. This is a powerful one because this is a weapon. This can pump your creatures, and it comes back. And power is if you have 8 or more power, you get it back. So late in the game, you can pump your creatures and then replay this and pump another one. And there's also a combat trick and an awakened student here. I think we probably want the staff over the student because it's a powerful and repeatable effect. And this would be a nice card to have, though. But we'll take the staff. Twinning Ritual is not something we're going to play. This guy's got Endurance and Warcry. So Warcry, I didn't really get too into that earlier, but it makes the next weapon or creature you draw bigger. So it's kind of gives you a long-term advantage for attacking with these guys. And this guy can attack and block, which is pretty nice. We've got, it looks like a combat trick, a fast spell here, and a big guy. We'll go ahead and take the one that's better for our curve. We've got a green-red weapon, but I think we're pretty good on weapons right now. This isn't something we'd want to be splashing. We've got a mono green weapon as well. Little less powerful, but it would be easier to cast because we may not actually play the red. And we've got, let's see, 4-drop. This guy's pretty decent. Ultimate gives it something to do in the late game. So once you get to the late game, if you have 8 mana, you can, have this be an 8/8 instead of a 3/3. So a 3/3 for 4, not very good, but an 8/8 is a fine creature. And if you're not going to spend the mana on anything else, you may as well have this thing get big. So I think that our pick is between the 4-drop and the 2-drop. We can kind of see our curve up here. So we've got 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. It looks like we've got the same number of 2 and 4 mana plays, although this isn't really a 2 mana play, probably. We would need a lot of 1-drops to have that be consistent. So we could probably take this out. Let's see. Detain we might not play. We'll probably end up playing the Detain, but we'll take it out for right now. We'll play that. We'll play that. This guy we may not play, but we'll probably end up keeping it in. We'll move it to the sideboard for right now. And I don't know if we want 2 Mithril Maces, but we may bring that back in. So if this is what our curve looks like there, we've got still the same number of 3 and 4 drops. I think, or sorry, 2 and 4 drops. I think we'll go with the cheaper card, since we don't really know where how our curve is gonna end up. Armor Smith, I'm not a huge fan of, but this can make your relic weapons for your hero last longer. It gives you 2 armor, and that adds on to the toughness that those have. Or Elysian Pathfinder, the top unit of your deck gets Echo. That seems pretty sweet. So the next creature you draw is you'll get 2 copies of it. So I think we're going to go with that here. Bright Maze Paladin. There's a lot of actually good green and white cards here. Bright Maze Paladin gets 2 life steal. It's like lifelink. If it has 4 power more, and this is kind of just if you need a curve filler. So I think this is a pretty decent card, but this is, I think, a bit more powerful. So we'll be happy to have the card advantage that provides. We've got another Stalwart Shield. Safe Returns, a nice combat trick. Not exactly a combat trick. It's more of a protection spell, but it does let you, like, if the opponent plays a combat trick and you want to bring your thing back, you can return it to hand and replay it. It even gets +1/+1 for your trouble. So you can use this to counter one of those. It also has synergy with things that are like basically 1 use per time you play the creature. So like if a card has Echo, like this, if we play the Echo card and then we return it to hand, I believe we get a second copy of it. I may be wrong on that. That might be only if we put it into our deck and redraw it. This would also combo with like Infiltrate. It does something the first time it hits an enemy. And we've also got Healer's Cloak. You gain hearts equal to the wielder's hearts. So that is probably a better equipment than this one that gives endurance. It's +2/+2, so it gives a little more power than that does. You get a little life boost, which is probably nice. We've also got Predator's Instinct. So you give a unit killer. It means you can use the unit to pick off one of your opponent's things. And I think that we'll probably take that here, because it is a decent removal card. It turns one of your creatures into a decent removal card. We've got a 3/3 for 3. It would give anything with the creature type Stranger +1/+1. So like if we had this Combrei Stranger, could have this be a 3/3 also, but I don't think that is very good, so we're probably not doing that here. This guy is a Flying Warcry, so we'll go with him. He's a nice evasive creature that can make some of our later draws better. And these Warcry guys, a lot of them have 1 power, so those will be happy to pick up equipment like this. So we've got a lot of these already, so we probably don't need another sword. It looks like we've got a multicolored card here. So this guy gives a Time Sigil and a Justice Sigil from your deck, so it gives you a green and a white sigil. I think we'll be happy to have that. It's not huge, but it does. It's not huge, but it does make your future draws better, because you won't draw those sigils from your deck, and it does ramp you. So this will help with, like, if we end up with some of those cards that have ultimate that we want to pay a bunch of mana for. We'll go with another Karmic Guardian here. This was good enough to first pick, so we'll be happy to have this. This is going to be great with the pump spells also. So now that we have 2 of those, we can be much happier with our equipment. We can give a unit in hand charge, or get 2 grenadins, or destroy an enchantment. I guess we'll just take the creature. And yeah, sure, another Minotaur. Okay. There are 4 packs of this, so it looks like a pretty decent deck already, and we're only halfway through. Um, Free of 2 units, still damage the enemy. I don't think we're going to do that. I know Oni Quartermaster is a decent one. If you play a weapon, draw a card, and we do have a lot of weapons. I don't know if that will be worth us splashing, but we may be taking that here on that chance. Secret Pages is a mana fixer. It is looking like the best on-color card right now, and the only other thing in green or white is this 2/5, and I don't really want to play with that. So I think we'll go with the Oni Quartermaster just in case we end up 3 colors. Field Captain's a pretty decent one too if we end up there, but I think we'll not take that here because I think we can take Excavate. You get to, well, maybe this isn't really something we want. I thought this put it in hand. This puts the card from the Void on top of your deck, so setting yourself up with a good draw later is okay, but maybe it's not something we really need to do here. It's looking like red is pretty open, so maybe we're going to want to consider this. Field Captain. Let's see. We've already got Recano Artisan. We've got a lot of white cards, so I don't think we're going to get out. I don't think we're going to get out of white at all. But we very well may be in a 3-color deck. Still don't think we're going to play Copper Hall Recruit, hopefully anyway. So we've got Awakened Student. So we got Oni Quartermaster, Rebel Sharpshooter. What other red cards do we have here? Recano Artisan's one of them. Recalculator, but I don't think we'll really want to play that. So it looks like there's 2 red cards that we would very much like to play because they go well with our weapon thing, and we've got Rebel Sharpshooter and Recalculator are 2 red cards that we would play if we need them. So I think this pick is actually, it's probably not the Excavate. I think our pick is going to be between this 3/3 flying and a 0/5 that gets pretty big. Just to stay on the safe side, I think we'll stick with the non-red card here. There's another one. We've also got Gilded Glaive, and power gives +2/+2 this turn. That is a pretty big equipment. So for just 1 mana more than that sword, it gives the same +2/+2, and every time you play a sigil, or a power, you get an extra +2/+2. And I think that is going to be really good for us, and we want that more than this ramp card and more than this off-color card. We've got a mana fixer. That's going to be something we want, I think. We've got Teleport. This is like a unsummon from Magic. It returns something to the owner's hand, creature. I don't think we need this Crown Watch Longsword because we've got a lot of equipment right now. So we'll take the mana fixing card. This is a really good equipment, so we'll probably take that. We've got Protect, give a unit or player Aegis. And not a lot else going on, but this is good because it makes our creatures evasive. So I think we're pretty set into a weapon-heavy deck here. We've got a Dirty Life Gainer. We've got a District Infantry. So there's a couple of 1-drops we can take. This gives a more lasting bonus from Empower, but neither one of these are going to attack or block very well when they are not empowered. And taking the 1-drops may be worth considering for like Crown Watch Longsword. We only have 1 of those so far, and we probably are not going to be thrilled about having like a District Infantry with Elder's Feather on it. So I think we can pick up more of these later. So I believe we'll be taking this combat trick instead. Give a unit +3/+3 this turn. It's a pretty significant bonus, and this can help us win a combat or dodge like a burn spell. Here we've got another Predator's Instinct. That's that removal spell that we already took. Or we can take a 2/3 with Endurance that attacks and blocks. I think we need to go with the creature here. The Treasure Guard's going to be really good with Elder's Feather too, because we can, if you're attacking and blocking with the creature, then you're getting double use out of your pump. I am a little bit concerned. I haven't counted all this up exactly, but I'm a little bit concerned about being too low on creatures, so we'll take the Treasury Guard. We've got another Mark of Shame or Steadfast Deputy. It just protects it from the first effect your opponent tries to play on it. So if they try to play a removal on this thing, it just doesn't hit it, but it's only a 1/1 for 1, so it's a really small effect. Not something we are going to go for here, and we've got 2 of these already, and may not be able to fit them all into the deck, so I don't think we're going to take a Mithril Mace here, so we'll go with this. This Curse makes a creature hit us less hard. We've got a nice... This is kind of a removal too. It's a lot like the Mace. It just hits something for 4. So you've got a... We're just going to take a red 4-drop here. I guess we'll grab Gorilla Fighter in case we need to have the creature. Valkyrie Aspirant is, I think, a pretty nice thing to see here because this gives us a card that has an effect late game. And we can play it early, and if it's still around, we can make it big late game and bash him for 5 in the air. And a guard is nice because it's on color. We're going to move these red cards out. Spire Chaplain's... Oh, no, this isn't what I thought it was. When it attacks, you get a Justice Sigil. That's pretty sweet. Get power out of your deck. We've also got a War Cry and Aegis, so this is pretty decent. It dodges the first removal they would try to play on it, so if you can pump this thing up, it can be a pain for the opponent to deal with. Because it gets big and it ignores the first removal they try to play. And no commons would take over those. I think we'll just take this rare here. It's a decent curve filler. We've got... This is the second or third one of these Battle Builders we've seen. We also have another Lumen Shepherd. I think we may be taking this here. It gives us kind of a late game card to finish out a game. And... I believe that that's something we're going to want more than Valkyrie Aspirant because we get a 1/1 flyer out of this just by drawing it. And not a lot else going on there. Another Centaur. We've got a Combat Trick, or we've got a Loyal Watchwing. I think we'll be taking that. The flying is going to be great with our equipments, and the War Cry is going to be great if we can make it hard to kill. So we're set up very well for that. This draft, I think, has gone pretty... In a pretty straightforward way. We've got another Minotaur Ambassador. We've already got 2 of these. We don't want to have too many 6-drops, but I think we'll be okay with them. We've got a 2/1 that makes your weapons better, but most of our weapons go on the creatures themselves, and we've got a good number of 3-drops already, so I don't think we need another 2/1. We'll just take the big guy for the deck thinning. We've got Diplomatic Seal. That is a good mana fixer, so if we want to try to play red, this may make that possible. Other things we could take are just a 6/5 Dinosaur. Pretty sweet. Or I don't think we want Armorsmith. I don't think we want Combray Stranger. The Strangers are not very good, it turns out. I got very excited about those when I first saw them and found out they're not a very good idea. I don't think we need to try to fit the red into our deck, so we'll take the Dinosaur. And I do love dinosaurs. So, we've got a life gain, we've got a paladin, and an armorsmith. Again, I don't really want to do armor stuff, so we'll take the paladin. He's nice if we can pump him up too. We can here take either a dispel or bold adventure. How are the 2-drops? We've got actually not a lot of them, so I think we're going to be taking that. We've got, yeah, we are not looking too good on 2-drops, so we're going to go ahead and be happy to have this thing show up late and fill out our curve. We've got a big card or a life gain card. We've got a 3-drop or a 7-drop. We've got a lot of 3s already. Yeah, we've got a lot of 3s. I don't think that's something we need more of. Well, let's count it. We got a 2, 3. We might not play that. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, we've got tons of 3s, so I don't think we need this. We'll go ahead and have a late game drop. Here's a good 3 though. We'll be happy to take that one because it is pretty decent. Can have another pump spell, and there's a green red banner. Well, we'll take it. We probably are not playing the red cards. So now we've got deck building. I believe you want to play about 18 power with this, so I think we can probably take the red out because it just doesn't seem like it's going to be worth the stretch to our mana because we've got a lot of playables already. Looks like we're much heavier on green cards than on white cards. Although we've got a surprising amount of multicolor. And these guys, we got 2 of those. This does take double white, so we're gonna want a good amount of both colors. So, play about 18 lands here. So we need to get down to that. We could probably start by cutting a 7/7 or a 7-drop. District Infantry I'm not thrilled about, but we will probably keep it. We've got another 1-drop. We've got Valkyrie. We probably don't need 2 copies of Finest Hour. I think that since most of our pump is in the form of attachments of like equipment, then it might be hard to fit Finest Hour into the deck because we're going to need enough creatures to put all these things on. Speaking of which, we've got 2 Elder's Feathers. How many equipments do we have? We have 2 of those, 1 of these, so that's 3. 4. Might not play Mark of Shame. 5. That's a really good one. That's a recurring one. 6. Mithril Mace goes on us, not on a creature. So yeah, we've got 6 equipment plus the one that we can use, Mithril Mace. It seems like kind of a lot. Maybe we could cut Stalwart Shield. It's fairly expensive, and I think we're getting better pump from our others like Elder's Feather. We probably want to keep most of our creatures. These Minotaur Ambassadors maybe are not that good. Maybe we could probably afford to cut one of those. What does this give us? This would give us, if we add power now, this would give us 15, which is the bare minimum that we can play. We probably want to cut at least 3 more cards from this deck. So I am actually pretty willing to cut this Mithril Mace. It just 5 mana seems like a lot, but we'll keep it here for right now because it is a removal for us. Pathfinder's good. This guy's good. We could cut Treasury Guard. I'm not thrilled about those. That's decent. The flyers we want to keep. We probably want all our flyers. I think that Bright Mace Paladin is better than Treasury Guard, so we can cut at least one of those. Amber Acolyte. Probably would play the Acolyte over Treasury Guard. I think I'd rather have the extra card in hand, even if it is a sigil, than just being able to block a little better, because our creatures are all going to be pretty decent anyway. So we can cut the second Treasury Guard. It may very well be wrong to do that too. I guess the guards are good with Elder's Feather, but this guy can attack with Elder's Feather too, so that's fine. We want to keep our 2-drops. Pretty much all of those. Yeah, we've only got we've only got 3 2-mana creatures, so we're gonna be keeping all of these. Keep Valkyrie Aspirant. I think we're gonna keep the Predator's Instinct. We can cut District Infantry. I don't really think we're gonna be aggressive enough for that to really shine in this deck. So this gives us 28, and we've got 1 power here already. So 15, 16, 17, 18. So this is a possible deck. This does not have any of our 2/3 for 3, but I think we're just not going to worry too much about that anyway, because we've got these guys. They have endurance also. So if we really need something to attack and block, we can have these ones do it. So let's go back and add power. and this thing is telling us to put in 9 and 8, so that'll give us 18 power sources in our 45 card deck. And I think the pretty even split here is probably right. So we'll say we're done. So this draft is 7 rounds or less. You can lose up to 3 times, and I believe it just pairs you against somebody else who happens to be playing at the same time. So I am gonna pause this video, and I will just be back with the games whenever you're ready to watch.